Well, with the season wrapping up, figured I might as well make a proper video for this one. So I'm gonna go grab a bagel this morning, go out to Central Park, and we're gonna chat about this series and the season. Now, you ask any New Yorker, they will have one specific spot that they personally prefer for an egg and cheese bagel. Everybody's got a favorite. Mine is a little bit more mainstream, but I don't know, it's a good solid pick. For context, there are two Pick-a-Bagels technically close to me. One on 53rd and 8th Avenue, the other one on 61st and 11th. Could have went to 61st, but I don't know, I just want to be on 8th Avenue despite the longer line. It took about 20 minutes to get in and out, which isn't bad for New York standards, at least not in Midtown, that is. So Emily told me this is weird, but I get a blueberry egg and cheese bagel. I don't think there's anything weird about that. I don't know. All right, let's find a spot to chat. My normal spot would be parking up somewhere in Sheep Meadow, but given that it torrential downpoured yesterday, there's unfortunately nothing open. So we're gonna have to pick another spot. Low key, this rock looking kind of nice. Okay, first I wanna kind of take a step back to Thursday because I didn't get to properly talk about it on my own. Jeffrey and I kind of went through the games, which is great, but I didn't get to talk about the things around it, which was, as you saw, we had an LCS watch party in New York City. I don't feel like I gave the best appearance, I guess you would say, or for that particular watch party, because the first two games I was busy with work. And on top of that, with it being a specific 100 Thieves series, I was so invested in the series that I did not pay as much attention to everybody at the event or the people around me that I normally do, which was a different dynamic that I was used to. And I was conscious of it all throughout. I tried to say hi to a few people and talk to others, but like I was so absorbed in the series that I don't feel like I made it the best for everybody that was there, so I want to apologize to anybody that was there that I didn't get the chance to talk to, and I promise for finals that obviously will not be the case. We still had a good turnout, like 20 to 25 people, which is great. The more people that keep coming to these, the better. But piggybacking off of that and going to the actual series, Thresh, Jinx. I mean, that's going to be the focal point for everybody this entire weekend. Our insistent hover, or our insistence on picking that specific combo, which I get. Doublelift was clearly one of the better performing players on our team and clearly wanted to be the carry of the weekend. The problem was we took resources away from literally everybody else to funnel that. And there's no problem with playing that specific style all weekend if you're gonna win on it. But we weren't winning on it. We had like a 20% win rate with Jinx Thresh combos. Think about that. We lost all 3 games against FlyQuest. We won game 1 against Golden Guardians, but then we lost game 5 and lost game 2. So we were 1 for 5. So you can't sit here and say that, oh, we're gonna keep playing this because we're really good at it. Like, no, you weren't winning on it. So something had to change, which is why that game 3 in the Golden Guardian series was like the most aggravating out of them all, because we changed up our style. We had the Blitzcrank, we had the Zeri, which Zeri's still comfort for the most part. But then you had the Annie mid lane, you had, I think it was Wook, or no, you had Viego? Yeah, we somehow let Viego through. And we just had all these resources to carry it. And it was like, oh, if we do this, we're gonna win. Great, phenomenal. Game 5, we pick Wukong over Viego, with Viego up. That right there says everything you need to know, in my opinion. Like, there's no instance where Game 5 closer should not be on Viego. Should not happen. Like, if it's open, he should be on it, and we draft around that. Because as we've said, Doublelift has many champions that he can play. So why is he consistently playing Jinx? I don't know. I feel really bad for Tenacity this weekend. He's going to get a lot of shit. But he was consistently counterpicked. We threw him on Sion, on Gragas, on tank duty, literally all weekend just to get counterpicked. And eventually it ended up costing us the series, as he would get counterpicked and Gwen into Sion. Obviously, Gwen eventually outscales, and she did. So, it's painful. I don't want people taking away from this weekend that Tenacity was the problem. We are forcing Tenacity onto a style that he can play, but when you become so readable, like, there's only so much he can do. I'm not saying you put him back on carries, but I'm saying like you need to have some sort of flexibility in your style. You cannot just have this one specific method that you're going to go every single game and become readable like a book, and that applies to everybody. Switching to Busio, he was the clear MVP of our team this weekend. Like, he played incredibly well. Yes, there were times where the team just wasn't coordinated around the flesh. Our lanterns, that people would take the one, I think it was in game 1, the double lift, like grab the lantern and goes immediately into everybody with a team fight. Like, just don't take that. I don't know. Busio honestly played, like, the one game that he gets to bust out a good counter pick in the Blitzcrank, he performs insanely well on it. Like, everybody looked at that Blitzcrank game and was like, oh, okay, so why are we not doing this again or putting him on Pike or just giving support counter pick? Which makes more sense, because every time that we save mid lane counter pick for 5th pick and we go with Zillion, we're readable. We're too readable. It's not a real counter pick if everybody in the world knows that it's coming. So honestly, reflecting on the entire season for Tenacity and Busio, I'm happy with how far they've come. Tenacity had some good signs. Busio has had a bunch of good signs. And I think as time goes on, as we get closer to summer, I honestly think they'll be fine, as long as one other thing happens, which I'll get into in a bit. Let's focus on the veterans. Double Lift had a very up and down split. I think it's safe to say that he was the 3rd or 4th best ADC in the league. Like, even in this series, he was playing pretty well. He just got beat by Stixay in the end. I mean, people are going to point to the Jinx Zeri like greeting for the cannon play, but that was also a good play on Stixay's part. Both ADCs, in my opinion, played this series decently well. They had moments where they were a little bit questionable, but that's the LCS for you. You're never going to not have that. Bjergsen and Closer. Bjergsen, I don't know if this is a team choice. Obviously, I'm not on the inside. I'm on the outside looking in, but whatever's going on with both of their champ pools, the fact that it is so limited to just a few champions, for Closer specifically, the fact that we can get Viego, Lee Sin banned out against us in Wukong 1st pick, and then we are clearly screwed, is a problem. Is a massive problem. And that's not something that's going to be solved anytime soon. He's got to have other picks. And the sad thing is, I know he's played them. He can play Olaf. He can play some of these other champions that you can, sure, they're not meta, but they're at least that same style that will allow him to take over the game, because the Vi and the Xin Zhao clearly didn't work. We didn't win a single game on Xin Zhao all weekend. Vi looked questionable at best. So what are we going to do differently going into summer? It simply has to be Closer expanding his champ pool, because if you're going to eat those bans and then we are not allowing mid or top to get counter pick later on in the draft, or at least like not such a telegraph counter pick, then we're going to be screwed. We're going to have the same exact result in summer. So I don't know. So what does that mean going forward for TFC? Well, unfortunately, this season is wrapped up. There's no more TFC to be had. However, I'm not done talking about the game. We're still going to have a bunch of other stuff going on after this, including MSI, of which C9 and others are likely going to be there. So we're chill. Speaking of that, welcome to LFC, or LCS Fan Copium, or LCS Fan Copes, or content, whatever you want to call it. No, seriously though, I am going to be continuing these videos, but it's more broad, obviously, for the LCS and the 2 teams that represent us going into MSI. I'll probably still do one next weekend after we find out the 3 teams that are going to Raleigh, and then I'll obviously do one after finals, and then after each day at MSI. So there will still be consistent content coming through. Obviously, watch parties will continue, including a watch party here in New York City for all of my LCS fans. We're still trying to lock down a location, but I'll have info on that soon enough. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we will see. Whether you're a 100 Thieves fan sad about the fact that we're eliminated from playoffs, a Cloud9 fan that's excited for finals and MSI upcoming, be sure to drop a like, give a follow, and let me know who do you think is going to win the split. And yeah, man, summer really cannot get here quick enough. I just want to be in shorts and a t-shirt, or running with just shorts and no shirt on. I miss 90-degree weather, which I know some people think is crazy, but I honestly do miss it. Shout out to Tavern on the Green, by the way. I know it's probably more of a touristy spot that locals might not like, but personally love the food and love the ambiance of being at night in Central Park with like nice lighting. I freaking love that spot. Anyways, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this walk on my own, just listening to some music, and heading back home. Got to edit this and I'll have it up. So hope you all enjoyed, and I will catch you on the next video. Adios.